Young men and women, and even elders could benefit from authentic information. The American prison system was not originally constructed to house minorities.
In early years, incarceration was thought to be a good business, although thought it could be better. So, it is reported that a body of Caucasians brought to the drawing board the ideal of incarceration on the county side to generate revenue. The first court and jail were built 1835 was reported to be a wooden stockade, only to outgrow itself 15 years later. Business was good, but good for who would be the question. A larger detaining facility was built on Hubbard for offenders with a more serious offense. Once sentenced persons were transferred to a state prison. Offenders arrested in Chicago for a less offense were detained at the Bridewell at Polk and Wells. The city population was on the rise, as was criminal offenders. In 1871, Bridewell moved to 26th in California and named the Chicago House of Corrections. It has been reported that select white detainees at the time were released on weekends to report the following Monday. The business of corrections was on the rise, but some local politicians thought the business would boom with alliances between the court and jail systems, jointing together, and it is said that they did. It is also reported that some persons met in closed quarters and suggested that colored people could be a good commodity because at the time they were considered without learning to understand the letter of the law. Thus, people of color were said to be incarcerated without some families knowing their whereabouts. Fast-forwarding matters, from 1835 to December 2021, black were incarcerated at more than 17 times the rate of whites. It was also reported that at the time, black women made up the greatest share of arrests for prostitution. Even at this 21st century, it is sad to believe that the largest group of minority men incarcerated are without a high school education. It is advised that youths, while on the outside, make a conscious decision to get an education. Education brings about an awareness. Awareness brings on the ability to think. And when you can think prayerfully, you then can make rational decisions. You will be happy that you did.
Things in corrections have changed, but not for the better. The arrest of minorities was apparently good for business. Some believed it could become a great way of increasing revenue for the system. The inmates found guilty by the courts were sent downstate to the communities that were found lacking revenue, and delighted when they saw the bus marked Cook County Department of Corrections. In the past, downstate residents welcomed minorities if they were only on the bus. Most communities did not welcome blacks that on their own traveled through the towns. A thank you was warranted for the business that became an industry predicated on the backs of mainly black people. The business of incarcerating minorities across the United States has proven by some to be a multi-billion-dollar business, and as it is documented, any person or organization trying to prevent persons from incarceration stands in the way of a rebellious fight from city, county, and state powers that be. The jailing of humans represent meat and potatoes for some, while the matters represents tearing into a family structure. Persons who have tried to bring about education as a deterrent have been admonished not to do. Sources say that been wearing white robes also wear the black garments. The system appears to be well orchestrated. There are those who cry loud and spared not in warning the communities regarding criminal justice matters. Most have been quickly disassembled, without cause. Minorities, knowing the truth about the concerted efforts to incarcerate, should become rebellious enough to become educated.
Let it be understood that there are minorities and whites who stand for justice rather than accept the premise of the justice system. Far too long have minorities served the criminal justice system as meat and potatoes for jails and prisons. This has to stop, but only by the grace of God. Blacks must make deliberate efforts to stop criminal behaviors. Must stop the drive-by shootings. Must stop the drug assassins in the hood. Carjackings must stop before it happens to a family member. Look out for brothers and sisters who might have fallen victim to a pimp on the block. Merely help discontinue all the things that have caused the families to take steps backwards, rather than steps forward to success. Let us ask God to help us overcome the acts of Lucifer, who only come to rob, steal, kill, and destroy. We are overcomers and not failures. God can and will help us if we let Him. This message is brought to you by Probation Challenge and the PCC Network, heard around the world. Reverend Dr. Harold E. Bailey, Founder and President. Clarence McMillan, Board Chairman. Brandy Ann Bailey, Secretary and Treasurer. Probation Challenge is the system that works for criminal rehabilitation. Motto: everybody deserves a second chance. Have a good day and stay in the hands of He who created you. God bless.